Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again with a pretty quick video just to go over the patch that just came out, because overall, after having a bit of experience with it, it seems like an overall pretty largely positive patch that just did a lot of right things and should make endgame mapping in its current form quite a bit more fun for you and for me especially as well, because I was starting to get a bit frustrated with a lot of these issues, and they actually tackled a lot of those issues that I was getting frustrated with. So to begin with, if you log in, you can just go ahead and seal the citadels that you missed out on. Yep, that's pretty cool. There will be a lot in your Fog of War, most likely. By this point, I think I've killed maybe like 15-ish Citadel bosses, and then I probably had another 10 or 15 just outside of my range that I have access to at this point as well. So Citadel bosses, definitely a lot more accessible and a lot easier to get to. The white beam will be for Act 1, the orange one will be for Act 2, and the red beam will be for the Vals Act 3 one. Aside from that, there were a few little changes to some of the stuff in the end game, and I logged on my Thorns character immediately to try things out, because one of the other changes that happened was scavenged plating was a lot easier to sustain, basically. It was one of the issues I identified in my build that I thought would help Thorns out like as much as possible, scavenge plating uptime, and it has for sure. You can definitely have much better uptime when you're scavenge plating, pretty much 10 stacks all of the time, which is also good for armor stack defensiveness, so it shouldn't be too hard to keep up that buff. I logged on and tried my cast on crit and cast on freeze character. There's a line in the patch notes that says something about cast on crit or energy gain can't proc from itself, something like that. I think that indicates to, let's say, my comet critting from the cast on crit, it won't then generate energy towards the cast on crit to crit itself or proc itself again. You immediately had people saying, "Oh, thanks for the fucking nerf to cast on whatever. It's already dead again. Great, fucking GG, whatever." I felt absolutely no difference in my character. Maybe it's in more extreme circumstances. I don't know, but I felt no difference. I was just trying out all of the new tower layouts, because there are 4 new tower layouts, and they all seem pretty good as well. So towers at the moment, as far as I can tell, just seem like a nice extra little map you run that should be pretty chill, have pretty good layouts compared to most other maps out there. So you shouldn't be upset running them. And yeah, it seems like towers are an okay mechanic at this stage. With more mob types, with more mobs next to each other throughout all of mapping in general, my cast on crit character or flicker strike character seemed to have a much easier time connecting to mobs. So that was a pretty big positive as well. It seems like mapping's just a little bit more enjoyable at this point. On top of that, there's checkpoints. So they did add the checkpoints to the mapping system, meaning you can just like go back sometimes if you really need to because you missed a rare. And then breach got slightly toned down. They said something like 15%, but on the interview they did mention that they think they can tone it down by that amount and you won't notice anything because it was like stuff that wasn't spawning anyway, something like that. I did try out breach and it seemed pretty damn good, so all around, yeah, breach still very much breach. I then tried out the Untainted Paradise buff. It supposedly had a bunch more monsters, and it was pretty noticeable. So I logged on a character, my Thorns character that was level 80, and after clearing a tier 15 Untainted Paradise that was rolled, with a few little nice rolls, I gained 3.5 levels. So from 80 to 83.5. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal for a really high-end character, so if you're like level 90 plus, an Untainted Paradise probably won't do much for you still, but I think it's a good idea to save these on your Atlas for like your rerolls, your ults, if you really want to boost a character up pretty quick. Like, it took 5 minutes or something to take a character from 80 to 83, so that's really nice and comfortable, and did feel much better than the previous Untainted that I had done. I logged on my Essence Drain character to make sure everything's working there, and still lovely as always. Loved playing Essence Drain, want to play it again. But I tested out the Expedition. There's just rare chests there now that kind of give a bit more loot, which is nice. Aside from that, Expedition did supposedly get some kind of slight buff to the rarity of stuff you'll encounter in the buyable windows and stuff. Didn't really seem to feel any difference there, to be honest. So Expedition, they said they're going to do something with it that makes it its own thing. But for now, it still seems kind of like just a glorified little ROG gambling thing that will very rarely turn up a nice item. And then, of course, logged on this character, Spiral Volley, Herald of Ice, did a bit of mapping, and yep, Strongboxes pop out things a lot faster, so we can just kind of like speedrun through Strongboxes. The rewards on them still going to be pretty RNG. I think maybe sometimes it'll turn up some good stuff, but most of the time still nothing. And then, yeah, lastly, I'll just say that I've started a new character. It's a Stormweaver, and I'm trying to make it attack-based using this Molten Blast stuff. Going to use a bunch of lightning damage. One of the new maces, old Roths, or I don't remember what it's called. Just a bunch of lightning damage, stack all that, attack, do something with it, be a bit of a hipster as a Stormweaver, and see where it takes me. So overall, pretty big, good patch. There's a lot of other good stuff that, you know, probably not really super worth mentioning. A few nice little unique upgrades. Most of the unique changes were pretty much nothing. So yeah, a bit unfortunate, but there were a couple of uniques that stood out that got a little bit better. I think the painter's gloves were the ones that I could remember the most that I thought were more usable or a lot more interesting than they were before. Aside from that, I am just really looking forward to getting to mapping with another character, because mapping looks like it went up a level, and overall pretty good patch. Just got to sit back, relax, and wait to see what we get next. Hopefully another class, hopefully more gems and more content, but so far so good for this early into the year. So with that, thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.